It was black all over, a black so dark and deep and slimy, it was hard to make out the forms and shapes, like looking into a living oil slick. There were at least 6 legs, but they were wrong and slithery, the joints bending in disturbing ways, boneless and deadly silent. There were no feet, each limb tapering to impossibly thin points that it balanced on. It prowled toward them, its movements confusing and sickening, with no face or eyes to ground it as anything familiar. But it did have a mouth. It opened, slowly, slobbering, a strange green glow emanating from within as it kept opening wider and wider. So large, it seemed half the creature's body had split apart. Everly stared, jaw slack, head aching from the sheer insanity of what was in front of her. Callan let out another roar, but it sounded more frustrated, almost scared. He turned away from the fallen girls to face the nightmare. "Come on!" Harper climbed back to her feet, pulling at Everly. Everly forced herself up, despite the hitched, panting breaths that didn't draw in enough oxygen and the tremors in her legs. Callan leaped onto the creature's back, tearing into it with his claws. As soon as he made contact with the black, slimy being, there was a hiss and sizzle of burning fur. Callan wrenched one of his tree trunk arms back, and a slick coating of darkness covered his hand, burning patches in his fur like acid. A spatter of ooze landed on Everly's hand, stinging and fizzing. She gasped and wiped it away. Harper cried out too and huddled behind the closest seat. The creature swung around, smashing through the room with each step, spattering acid like rain. Broken timbers from the upper balcony crashed down. Plaster shards pattered over Everly, and she ducked to the side. Harper screamed as a solid beam landed across the row of seating she'd taken cover in. Her scream turned to a groan as she twisted on the spot. My leg is stuck!" Callan tore and shredded into the back of the creature, and it didn't even seem to notice. Its boneless limbs flew upward, swatting and cracking against Callan, landing with bone-crunching thuds. It's not enough. He's not enough. The creature is going to win. It felt like watching Rylan die all over again, a memory that now felt horrifyingly real. She had entangled someone else in her curse, doomed to witness those she loved die, again and again. Everly stood frozen in place. She couldn't leave Callan to die alone, but if she didn't help Harper get out, Harper could die too. She was going to fail them both. She couldn't think through the pounding in her head. The creature trapped Callan in one of its appendages and reeled him in, closer and closer to its glowing maw. "Help!" Harper cried, tugging at her trapped leg. I don't know what to do. I can't fix this." Everly gasped out the words. "I'm going to get everyone killed." Panic closed around her like a vise. She tried to move closer to Harper, but crumpled under the pressure. "You can fix anything! Don't let your dumb dragon take over! Actually, no wait! Do let your dragon take over!" Harper yelled. "The dumb thing is right this time! This is real danger, and a bit of adrenaline-boosted strength to get me out of here would be good right now!" The creature had Callan at its mouth, a swarm of tongues lashing at him. He yelped, wolf-like, thrashing to try and free himself. Every instinct inside Everly screamed at her to not let her dragon take over. It was wrong, went against every thread of her being to let panic take control. But she could feel it raging inside her, wanting to burst free. Maybe if she let it, if she gave in, stopped trying to hold it back, maybe her adrenaline would work how it was supposed to. With a gulp, she let her barriers down. Energy surged through her. She felt she would pass out entirely from the extreme panic attack. Instead, she lit up. At first, Everly thought the light filling her vision was her consciousness fading, but she quickly became more aware, the energy making everything clear. A white glow filled the theater as sparkling tendrils emerged like lightning from her flesh, lifting her from the ground and carrying her toward the monster. An immense hunger washed over her, seeping deep into her bones. She couldn't control it. Where she went, what she did, the light had taken over. The same light as the night Rylan was attacked. It was all real. The blazing wisps lashed out toward the creature, and it made a heart-chilling, gurgling scream. It dropped Werewolf Callan. It moved so fast, it skidded on the spot in its attempt to flee. Then it was nothing but a black flash. It smashed its way out through an exit too small for it, not even that slowing it down. Callan rolled to a stop beneath Everly. The hungry tendrils tried to reach for him, and Everly recoiled. She forced every scrap of control she had over herself into action. The light faded, and Everly drifted down onto her feet. Her legs wobbled and she fell backwards onto her butt. Her vision swam, then cleared. Her breathing returned to almost normal. Her heart still pounded a rapid rhythm, and she still felt hungry. Callan looked at her with wide, bewildered animal eyes. "What the f*** are you?" "What am I? What the f*** are you?" Harper smacked her hands on the ground and cried, "What in all the f*** is going on?"